This week, an Instagrammer with millions of followers fails to sell 36 T-shirts. We're going to ask if the influencer bubble is set to burst. How do you create affinity for what is considered a grudge purchase? A local insurance company goes beyond the script. We'll take a look at how you can guard against visual hacking. Yes, it's actually a thing. And an iconic Indian media house launches an initiative to carve out a mainstream space for LGBTQI individuals. So a very warm welcome, and we're going to start with this. And we have discussed the value of influencer marketing many times on the program before. And recently our skepticism was underlined by this story. Take a listen to this. An online debate erupted when a popular 18-year-old social media influencer called Ari failed to sell just 36 T-shirts. 36 T-shirts, despite having more than 2 million followers. So we're going to ask the question this week, could this be the first signs that the so-called influencer bubble is set to burst? Alan Dolenchek is with us, founder and chief strategist of Influential, a local strategic marketing agency, and recently posted the findings of a digital survey that her company conducted to find out what South Africans really think of influencers. Warm welcome to you, and maybe we're going to have an argument. Let me ask you first of all, this bubble, this influencer bubble, it's set to burst, isn't it? When you listen to 36 T-shirts, 2 million followers, come on, it's not that important.
I don't think the bubble is about to burst. I think there's a couple of reasons why she failed to sell 36 T-shirts with over 2 million followers. Firstly, I'm not surprised this has happened. I think it confirms what we've been telling brands and clients for a long time, that number of followers does not always equal influence. We see, especially in South Africa, a lot of brands, when they do these sort of campaigns, just want people with lots and lots of followers. But these days, we want them to focus more on engagement and actually what the influencer's brand represents versus what theirs represents, so alignment. When we look at Ari, I've never heard of her before, I will admit, before this whole story broke.
Well, nor have I, but go figure, you're not surprised.
Go figure.
Yeah.
And I went through her feed just to see if there's a couple of clues as to why she failed to sell a mere 36 T-shirts. I'm sure I can sell more than that just to friends and family. And if you look at it, she didn't really build a brand. You go onto her feed and you look at her beautifully aesthetic pictures. She's a very pretty girl. She takes beautiful pictures. But when you look at the captions, it's generally one lines, doesn't give much insight into who she is, what she likes, what she's about. She doesn't even use hashtags. So again, we don't know what she's interested in, which leads me to believe people are there because they just like the look of her, right? That's not a brand that's going to sell things. And then secondly, if you look at the T-shirt she tried to sell, it looked nothing like anything she ever wore in any of her content. So again, people want authenticity, they want relatability, and that's why they're there. And there's this huge disconnect between what she tried to sell and who she pretends to be online.
You make the point that in your survey, users are increasingly looking for authenticity and relatable influencer content. What do we mean by authenticity?
We're looking at people who are online, the same people that are offline. And basically that comes through a lot in what kind of things they post. People who are experts in topics are generally deemed as influencers. They generally get like a nice niche following because people are interested in the topic and these people can teach them more about it. So through that, people can generally see if someone's authentic or not. They drop the ball.
Let's talk about platforms if we can. And I want to put up a very interesting graphic that you've brought along with you. There we go. The most popular social media platforms, 91% Facebook, but I thought that Facebook was for old people like me.
Well, we do see more of the older generation going on it, like our parents. But Facebook was the original platform, and I think we all very much still like it and we still use it quite a lot.
What keeps Facebook his ability to have that traction?
I think there's a couple of things. I think one, Facebook lends to a very visual audience. Yet again, lots of video, lots of images, which people like to consume these days, how we like to consume our information. So Facebook is still really good for that. Secondly, it's been around for a long time and it kind of started out as this It was truly social. It was our friends, it was our family, and a lot of people still remains that.
That old first-to-market advantage.
It's that old first-to-market, and if you see, a lot of people still keep it quite closed. It's where they post their personal victories, their personal things about their kids, their families, and they kind of know a lot of the people that's on there.
Now draw a comparison for me between Pinterest and Instagram.
Pinterest and Instagram. Pinterest, I think, is very untapped yet. I think in South Africa it's going to boom a lot. We still need to do a lot of people to get on there, but it's more for hobbies and interests and that kind of thing. So I'm not generally going to follow the influencer on Pinterest.
So Instagram, which is purely visual, is in second place. Where is the power of attraction there?
It's got everything in one. You've got video, you've got images, you've got the stories that made Snapchat so favorable a couple of years ago until Instagram started getting that on their platform. It's beautiful. You can literally curate all your content on one platform, and that's Instagram. Stories and visuals, it's all in one place.
We've done so many stories on this program before which have suggested that in order to be an influencer, you have to be a celebrity.
No.
But look what your graph is saying.
Yes.
8%. So, in fact, it doesn't matter, does it? It can be an ordinary person like Ari.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she is. I always take it back to what is an influencer. Every single person is an influencer. I mean, the smallest type of influencer we get is nanos, which I always say that's my mother. It's anyone who has influence over friends or family when it comes to purchasing decisions. And I mean, if I want to know something about gardening, the first person to ask my mother. She's that major influencer in my life when it comes to that. And again, that authenticity, the relatability is there.
So let's bring it back to the brands that obviously you work with. What should brands be taking out of this particular survey, apart from the fact that men are not particularly interested in it at all, or 27 versus 73%? How should brands be strategizing and also working out a real ROI?
I think brands should first do a strategy around influencer marketing when they go in there. That's where we saw the gap and why I started the business, is every brand's doing influencer campaigns these days because it is another marketing channel. But it doesn't mean they generally do a strategy around it. So when we asked them, was it successful? And they're like, yeah, I think so. But when you want to take it back to a certain objective, they couldn't tell you because they didn't have objectives from the start. So for me, it's like every strategy should be unique to the brand and what they're trying to achieve. So there's no right or wrong types of influencers to use depending on what you want to achieve.
And just very quickly, if you're going to be an influencer, you've got to work hard.
Yes.
I mean, this is a daily grind, isn't it? This isn't, every once in a while when I see a pair of shoes that I like, I'll say something.
No.
Yeah.
It needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
If you're an influencer, your audience that you've built over time wants to see you quite often post about the subject matter that you're interested in.
And Dolenchek, thank you very much indeed. Useful insights
Thank you so much,
into
Jeremy.
influencer marketing.
I
We'd like to hear
appreciate
your thoughts on this debate. Social media influencers, do you think they're a powerful marketing tool or a complete hoax as the bubble burst? Let us know on our social media pages. And yes, we still use Facebook. Next on the program, interesting insights on how to guard against visual hacking and how an iconic Indian media house created a mainstream space for LGBTQI individuals in support of the International Day Against Homophobia.